So after that, it was really tough for me to open myself up to relationships again. I think for the longest of time, I came across guys who just want to taste the cookie jar and not necessarily love me the way I wanted to be loved.
Sanmanan Dimelang, hello, Molwin. I refuse to stop singing just because I can't. So, you guys are gonna be okay, okay? I wanted to talk about Makoto, and I'm hoping that I can do her justice. I have compiled a bunch of videos throughout the season until episode 7 of how we got here. I think I have the answer. And the point is not to critique. The point is to understand and to learn from her, because I think there's a bit of us in everyone. Okay, so I wanted to start off with the very introduction that we have from her. When Makoto was talking to the experts, she said some very important things that I think will be the foundation for what we see unfolding later on and why she reacts the way she reacts.
He looks like he comes from a very good family, a healthy family. He looks like a guy with good morals and principles.
Yeah, so the big thing that she was looking for in this experiment is to be loved deeply and to be loved truly. And I think in the first conversation we have where she is speaking to Unkulego, all the things she says about that man are good things. She's like, wow, he seems like a good guy. He seems to have good values. He looks like he comes from a good home. These are all positive. There's not one negative thing she said about him. She was giggly. He wanted to give her another kiss, and she was over the moon because I think it was validating her. It was reassuring her in a very uncertain experiment, in a very uncertain environment. And if you're marrying someone that you've never met, I can understand how anxious you'd be about whether or not they'd be pleased with, who you are. So when they get to the bedroom, this becomes what she wants to know. Are you happy with what you got? And it seems on the surface that she's just checking in to see if he likes how she looks. But on a deeper level, she wants to confirm that she is safe here and that history won't repeat itself where guys are just with her to use her, or they don't truly accept who she is.
We're finally here. We're about to start a journey together.
First things first, am I what you were looking for? Like in terms of like physical attributes or like personality and all of that?
To be honest, you were actually beyond what I expected, to be honest, right? Okay, like you've got that alpha energy.
In a way.
Yes. Like you're a strong, loving person, and then you can switch up and be humble.
I'm not a humble girl. And like, even if you go to the dictionary and you search the word humble, it does not describe my personality.
My question is, as much as you have a strong personality, are you willing in certain situations to humble yourself, even though maybe you're right or I'm wrong or there's no understanding, just for the sake of us,
For the sake of peace?
No, not for the sake of peace.
You just said, am I willing to humble myself?
Compromise.
So you want me to be this girl that you described? I have a strong personality, right? Big. Bold. So you probably want me to dim it down? And I can't do that.
The thing is, you don't understand that a marriage is not about you. We both sacrifice ourselves.
How do you know about marriage when you've never been in one?
Like everyone that was there, they married.
Yeah, but it's their own dynamics. You've never experienced marriage before.
But I grew
so
up
why do you
there.
want to talk about marriage as if you know what marriage is about?
Okay, but baby, this is the thing I want to know, right? If you're not willing to sacrifice for the person you love, then what's the use?
But like, what are you sacrificing, babe? Did I ask you to sacrifice anything right now?
No, I'm saying love is sacrifice.
But why are we talking about sacrifices when we haven't even reached a stage where we're sacrificing? He wants me to compromise and sacrifice, and I'm not willing to let anybody impose their beliefs on me because I'm not imposing my beliefs on them.
We need to have selflessness. I don't think about myself in marriage. I think about you as my wife. I place you first. This commitment, this covenant, it means that we are losing the lives that we've lived so that we can become one and create something greater. Marriage, right? The Bible states clearly that.
No, like, yo.
Please.
Yo.
Please, hear me out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right.
Religion is the center of everything. And I'm not about that life.
So, in this clip, Makoto quickly realizes that the person he's describing is not who she is. And she gets defensive quickly because her response is to say that, what do you even know about marriage? Why would you base our marriage on other people's dynamics? First of all, indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili. That's a closer proverb. It means if you want to know the way, you ask those who have arrived or those who are further along than you. So, and funny enough, I don't even think she means these things that she's saying. I think that she's just defensive in this moment. Because it's not only religion that prescribes male headship and women submitting. And he wasn't even only speaking about that submission and dominance conversation. He was talking about compromise in general. He was saying, we will not always agree and we will have to compromise. Are you someone who can do that? Because she is hearing it as you need to be less. She's thinking, nah, I will never be weak. You will not catch me slipping. And you can hear that she's taking everything as a personal attack because what she says back is not what he said. For example, he said, are you someone who is willing to compromise? You are quite bold, you are much. And she's like, yes, I am. He says, can you humble yourself? And she's like, you want me to dim myself down? And he says, for the sake of peace, and what I think he's trying to say is, in order for us to be able to move forward, we need to agree on some level, which means that you're gonna have to take some L's. I'm willing to take L's. I'm putting you first. I'm no longer thinking just about myself, and you're going to also need to not just think about yourself, but think about us as a unit. And it's not being received well because of the initial rejection. This is actually a rejection that she is living through at this moment. Her actual fear has come true. She feared that the person she gets either will use her or will not love her for her. And he didn't get what he wanted because she's not what he's describing. The thing we can learn about her is that we need to listen to understand, ask questions so that we understand. Even if we're feeling attacked, or even if we are not hearing what we wanted to hear. I think she stopped listening the minute he said something she didn't like. The next thing that we can learn from this is decorum. Why is she now disrespecting this man just because she didn't hear what she wanted to hear? Because by the end, she's just like, yo ha, and she starts making these sounds. It's childish. It really is just childish, and it is disrespect. This is the note that we are starting our marriage on. It's not a good note. Unfortunately, Unkulego is such a people pleaser that he doesn't recognize that this is the beginning of disrespect. He lets it slide because he's already starting off on this note of being someone who is offensive. He's trying to fix that. He's trying to make peace. He's busy apologizing. He's not addressing the fact that even if you don't like what I say, let's speak to one another as grown-ups. Let's agree in a mature way, yeah? So, unfortunately, because he has allowed her to disrespect him, showing that he has no boundaries and he is not assertive, therefore her respect goes even lower. It will continue to decline the entire season. She is responsible for those actions. We are responsible for the way we treat people. Something just...
Last night was just heated, right? To be honest, I want to apologize.
What are you apologizing for?
How, I actually enforced what I believed onto you, and I did not give you a chance to understand where you come from and, give you time.
I was really touched, because it felt like low-key you were undermining what I believe in and trying to impose your beliefs on me. I don't want someone who's going to change me.
Moving on forward, right? Rather than me believing in my own understanding and own ways, I feel like I want to actually come to your church and try and experience what you feel there. You can also come and visit my church.
I don't mind.
I think because Unkuli is basing everything he's saying off of the Bible and religion, which is something that is always going to make people feel judged, because it is something that is socially understood and accepted as having moral high ground. If you go to church and that church is Christian or has Christian elements, it reads the Bible. It reads the Bible because it places the Bible as authoritative. If it is authoritative, it means that it does have some sort of moral high ground. It depicts what should and shouldn't happen. And so, when Unkuli is saying these things that she doesn't want to hear, such as humility, what's that other word? Submission. Those things are things she does not want to hear because she sees them as being directly opposing of who she is. She even makes it seem as though it's her personality trait to not be submissive and to not compromise, which is not true. You can be bold and you can still be your lavish, lovely self and know how to compromise and know how to be humble, because humility is about not considering yourself above anyone else, which would include opinions, right? I still stand by the fact that Unkuli simply stated what he believes. He didn't say, you must, this is how this household operates. She just heard something she didn't want to hear. She had no healthy rebuttal or second offering that she would bring on the table. She didn't say, hey, those relationships that you see where the woman is very submissive, that's for them. In our relationship, I would rather you do whatever I say. Or I would rather we discuss each thing and we vote on it. I don't know what she wants to happen in the relationship, because she didn't make it known, right? But because the Bible was being used and the Bible has this moral high ground thing to it, she actually felt judged, and she felt as though what he was saying was, you're not good enough. Now, I'm going to make a link, and this link is not necessarily true, but it's the only other thing that we're given by her that we could maybe stand by. And that's the fact that she feels that he thinks less of her. And it triggers her because I think her family also judges her or is punishing her. And you only get punished or taught a lesson if you've done something wrong. Ne? This is what I'm talking about. I want you to just listen to this.
So angry, I can't believe that he's doing all of this to me and my son. It's like he doesn't have a heart.
I just needed my father to just help me. And he's doing all of this because he wants to literally make me suffer. He wants to teach me a lesson.
I don't know your dad. I don't know your brother. I might understand where this frustration, where this anger comes from. It's because of being deserted.
I'm alone.
You're not, right? I will be your father if I have to.
Uncle Lego did not have to offer to be this woman's father. She needs to process what is happening and she needs to heal from it. But essentially, Makoto's Makoto's father and brother are refusing to help her because they are teaching her a lesson. What this tells you is that she has suffered rejection based on not having done the right thing. And when Nkululeko is listing these things that he wants in a wife that aren't her, and he's using the Bible as his reference for it, I think that she's triggered because you're telling her she's not good enough. And you are saying she's not a good woman. You are saying that she's less than that. Nkululeko starts to backslide, and she feels that it is her personal calling to expose him.
The honeymoon stage, I got to know who Nkululeko is, maybe like 10%. I got to see the other side that he was hiding from people. A man of God on screen, but when the cameras are off, so he got to tell me about what he meant by his dark past. I was like, okay, we're moving in the right direction.
He attains to a higher standard that he really cannot get to of himself. And I think he's trying to be perfect.
So opening up, I was never accepted, like really at home. You know, my father kicked me out. My stepdad didn't want me. So I didn't have a father figure to teach me how do you treat a woman, firstly. How do you become a man? I had to learn in the dark streets of Johannesburg, you know, as a young person. I was lost, I was broken, I was breaking other people, right? I was a mess. So in 2023, when I decided to go back to God, it's because I didn't want this life. I won't lie, I do fall, and it has not been easy because I'm far.
You and say, please give him some grace and understand that this is new to him. For him, he feels the moment he goes in this direction, he's going to turn into that guy that he decided to walk away from. And it's going to be with a lot of things. It's going to be the drinking, it's going to be the smoking, it's going to be the sex.
Makoto is angry that Nkululeko would dare be imperfect and still think that he's better than her and still have the audacity to expect her to be a godly wife or woman. That's what I get here, because when she points out all the things he does wrong, it's to bring him down and humble him. And you would only need to humble someone if you were feeling inferior. And in feeling inferior, in feeling undermined, in feeling as though her beliefs are being imposed on, she will then spend the rest of the season embarrassing this man and exposing him to humble him.
I feel like Nkululeko was imposing his beliefs on me because now I would have never suggested to get into a marriage and wait for 2 months. Selfish, much, yes.
My wife doesn't see where this is going.
Sexually, like, wicked. It's...
There's some problems there.
This is a very safe space.
I'm trying to say it without... I don't want to make my man uncomfortable with this topic,
I mean, we're all adults, married couples.
We're not so compatible.
I love my wife, right? She's gorgeous. I'm sexually attracted to her. I think it's just the mentality I've placed myself of waiting. Yeah, sure. My thing now, I'm willing. I've let go. It's just that now, when we're supposed to do the deed, she might not understand it. She thinks maybe I'm not feeling or anything, but I panic.
We'll be making out, kissing, nothing, to a point where I even asked, are you gay? You get us? Maybe he's into petite girls because he's a petite guy. And I feel like the experts, when it comes to physique, they threw me under the bus. I said I want a skin. I don't want a light skin.
You need to look at your wife as being a new part of your sexual journey.
Sure.
Start yourself there, build it up. Because the moment you get into bed and you're laying there, you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's supposed to come, it's supposed to come, it's supposed to come. You're overthinking
yes.
it. And I think that is where the issue is. You know what I mean? Because I don't like the fact that she's mentioning that. How about maybe we have an open marriage?
Yeah, because I was like, maybe divorce is going to be a process. So because I don't feel it, I don't feel it's going to be a
What we just saw is Makoto sharing with everyone at the first dinner where all the couples are sitting together and meeting as officially married couples. And you can see that she's hesitant to actually share what she's about to share because she's aware that it's quite sensitive and it might make Nkululeko feel some type of way. But then she decides to go ahead and do it anyway. And she says she's doing it because maybe someone else is going through the same thing, so they could possibly give her some advice, or she could just take comfort in knowing that they're not the only ones experiencing this, so it's not her fault. And she continues to say maybe it's that they're not sexually compatible and it would be better for them to have an open marriage. This is such a problematic statement to make, especially so early on in the marriage, because we're trying to find solutions. We're trying to work together. We should be trying to understand where each of us are coming from. And they've had a lot of discussions around what's going on. So you'd expect a bit more grace and a bit more understanding. But I think in this moment, she's blinded, and she's blinded by the insecurities about her not being enough, her not being who Gulego wanted, and possibly her not being good enough as a wife. And so she's thinking that the reason why they're having intimacy issues is because he's not attracted to her. Despite the number of times he says, I love this woman, I'm attracted to this woman, she's beautiful. And despite the chemistry they shared from day one, where he even asked for permission to kiss her again, and they were both quite, giggly and bubbly before getting into the little argument that they had. So what's interesting here is that I think it's only half of I don't think it's only half of the equation. Her looking for some reassurance from the group and her looking for advice from the group. I think the other half of this is to make sure that people understand that Nkululeko is not the only person who didn't get what they wanted. And she's not, the reason why their relationship isn't great. He also has shortcomings. I refuse to have people looking at him like he's so great and I just suffer in silence, which is not what I'm saying she should be doing. I just think that she could have gone about things in a different way with a little bit more tact and maybe gone to the experts. There was talk of him going to the men's clinic. They could have let that happen first and see, the outcomes of those consultations. Regardless of this, when she is speaking to Portia, they are both sharing their issues within their marriages, and she starts to say, I even asked him if he's gay, maybe I'm not his type, and you know what? That's fair. He's not my type. Maybe gay as funani. We both aren't attracted to each other, so let's just go down the open marriage route. It sounds as though she really needs to have him also look bad because she's aware that at the moment she's the one who's not looking great. Her attitude has been quite sour so far. The other thing that starts to happen from here is that Nkululeko did not take kindly to this. Even Tsepo could see the contempt building within Makoto, because he referred to how she was rolling her eyes when he speaks, and there was just some contempt in the body language. It was not coming across as adoring, and it is kind of giving a disrespectful energy, which she's not aware of. I think she's not aware of how her body language comes across and how she could communicate her stances in a less aggressive manner. This aggression, this attitude starts to eat away at Nkululeko more and more as their bedroom walls take a front seat, and it's something that he's obviously not taking well. It's a sensitive issue. It's making him look bad, and he's not feeling protected by her in any way. And therefore, I think he gets desperate. I think he's trying to defend himself, and he's now starting to try and establish some boundaries around their communication. And it backfires on him. When they go see a specialist, the sexologist, and they're talking about their intimacy issues, he lies. I believe that he lied. I believe Makoto was correct when she said that the intimacy has not been working out very well. And she says, I wouldn't be trying to prance on you if it was that time of the month. He said that because he needed an out. He needed one more thing that will make it not his fault. It has become a battle of the narratives, a battle to save reputations at this point, because she refuses to be his scapegoat and have him blame their bedroom issues on her attitude, disrespect, and period. And he is struggling to maintain his masculinity, if I can put it that way. So he's getting desperate. And he's also, later in the show, when it comes to episode 6 and 7, we're going to see that he's also not been protecting her against people calling her names. So he's aware that Tsepo has said some very disrespectful things about her. It seems it has even happened in his presence, and he didn't check that. And Makoto has been escalating in attitude and disrespect, and this is going to be the thing that really sets her off, because now you are allowing disrespect. You're not protecting her, and it means you believe the things that they are saying when they're calling her names. The reason you don't correct it is probably because you think it's true. That's quite problematic. So I would say that this marriage crumbles because of insecurity. This marriage crumbles because of projecting and not communicating how things are making you feel. They continue to try and fix it, but they never get to the bottom of what is actually happening. So it just escalates.